Welcome back, everybody, to the Podecito podcast. I am your host, Real469. Thank you for joining me as we journey episode by episode through our collective favorite show. Of course, I'm talking about the incomparable Las Vegas. This episode is episode 22 of the season and the series. Don't you know, it is the Big Bang. Not that Big Bang. I will never cover that Big Bang. We are talking about this episode of Las Vegas, the Big Bang. Yes. This episode, the Big Bang, you see, aired originally for the first time May 10th, 2004. Now, it aired on that date because it was preempted on May 3rd, 2004 for the second part of the NBC miniseries, aka Movie of the Week, 10.5, Part 2. You see, 10.5 was a movie about a brash seismic researcher who discovers that a series of seemingly unrelated earthquakes are the catalyst to a major quake that will likely separate the West Coast from the rest of North America. When the disaster strikes, the president, along with the director of FEMA and the quake expert, must race against time to save lives and coordinate a massive emergency response. Starring Kim Delaney, Fred Ward, Ivan Sergey from Crossing Jordan, Dule Hill from Psych, Beau Bridges, John Schneider, and Kaylee Cuoco. I'd never heard of it either, and I'm sure if it was on and I was watching the TV that night, I would have skipped right past it. But that's why this episode aired on the 10th instead of the 3rd. The IMDb rating for this episode is 7.9 out of 10. The Las Vegas the series rating for this is, am I reading that right? A 5 out of 5? Oh my goodness. Meaning that the aggregate for those two is an 8.95 out of 10 or a B+/A- for this episode. That is high from the aggregates, particularly from Las Vegas the series. I don't think, since I've checked, I've seen a 5. I think if I went back and checked the pilot, they'd probably have that be 5 out of 5 chips. But this is 5 out of 5 chips this episode, says Las Vegas the series. That's interesting. We'll talk about my rating for this in a little bit. It was written by Gary Scott Thompson.
He's the puppet master!
Yes, he is the puppet master, Sam. Yes, he is. Matt Piken and Michael Burns. The director was Allison Liddy Brown. Allison Liddy Brown, her first directing credit was actually in 1995 for 2 episodes of Fudge, the Saturday morning TV show based on the Beverly Cleary books. She also did an episode of Xena Warrior Princess. She did 2 episodes of Beverly Hills 90210, Say Hi to Sam. She shows that she has some semblance of writing when it comes to shows like this. She did CSI, also a Las Vegas show, for an episode. She then did an episode of Monk. See, the pipeline seems to be continuing. She did 5 episodes of our favorite show, Las Vegas. Yes, she did, including but not limited to, well, I guess it is limited to. I'm going to list them. This is her first episode, The Big Bang. She then comes back the next season for Blood is Thicker, Two of a Kind, and Tainted Love. And then her final episode of Las Vegas was season 4 episode Fleeting, Cheating, Meeting. So if those episodes seem familiar, you'll understand why. Yada, yada, yada. She does a couple other things, including 5 episodes of Bones, which is more detective work, but the interplay between the characters reminds me a little bit of Las Vegas. She, yada, 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 does a couple other things. She ends up doing 2 episodes. Yada, yada, yada. She ends up doing 2 episodes. Yada, yada, yada. She ends up doing 2 episodes of Hawaii Five-0, the Scotty Conn version. Yes, she does. Not long after that, she does. I might be going around now. That's right. She does an episode of Battle Creek. Follow up from our boy Josh Duhamel. Let's keep the hits coming. She then goes on to do Magpie, the new version of Magpie. 2 episodes of that. She then goes on to do an episode of CSI Vegas. So the lineage is here. She knows how to do this type of show. She knows how to do the Las Vegas vibe. She's done Las Vegas shows a couple of times. The last thing you could see her direct is 17 episodes so far, at least, of Grey's Anatomy, the latest one being in 2024. That is Allison Liddy Brown. I would say that she does a pretty bang-up job of directing here. Bum. And we're going to see her work here very shortly. As we start the episode, we whoosh past the cityscape of Las Vegas, down the strip, into the Podecito, down to the pool, to a clock that ticks to 12, and after the ominous music, we see people diving into the pool that apparently only opened at 12 noon, and specifically at 12 noon, and everybody was waiting just to dive in and do that shot. Everyone seems to be having fun here at the pool. Why wouldn't you? It's the pool at the Montecito. There is a music cue here as everyone is enjoying the rays and the chlorine-infested water that's coursing through their nasal passages. If you're watching the original version of this show, Surreal, you have the original version? No, I don't have the original version. If you're watching the original version, as well as the DVD, as well as all the streaming services, apparently this music went all the way through. You know why it went all the way through? Well, the name of the song is Dance With Me All Night. It's a good song. It's written and performed by Universal Production Music, so they didn't have to pay anybody any extra. You see that? It's Universal already owns it, so they used it all the way through. That's not going to be the trend with all the other music on this episode. There's going to be a few more songs. Stay tuned. As we continue, we hear Mike as he is huddled up with Sam. Easy shippers, easy shippers. Mike is huddled up with Sam, quoting from Spring Days to Winter by Oscar Wilde.
In the glad springtime when leaves were green, oh merrily the throstle sings, I sought amid the tangled sheen love whom mine eyes had never seen. Damn.
Hey, I know, and there once was a man from Nantucket.
Wait, please, no, I'm a bit busy enjoying the change of season.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, Mike. I wanted to hear Sam's poem. Like, yours was nice, but I wanted to hear Sam's poem. By the way, they have, maybe it's because they're in the pool setting, but everyone looks fantastic in this episode. Like, this is great. Mike's shirt looks fantastic. Sam/Vanessa in this episode. Oh my gosh. What is happening here? What is happening here? And we're not done yet. Everyone looks, it's almost like, you know what it's almost like? It's almost like they're television stars. So Sam is talking about the secret Everlast concert, which helped her wrangle all her biggest clients in for the spring pool opening, which is interesting, I guess, because her whales are going to allow their kids to... it's not that Everlast wasn't that major a band back in 2004. Like, they were cool. I liked Everlast, mainly because there's a song featured on Carlos Santana's album Supernatural that features Everlast. Leave Your Lights On. That's a great song. And that did open a lot of people up to Everlast, but I guess they were probably riding a bigger wave than Sugar Ray was at this time, right? But I guess to Sam, they're big enough to wrangle the parents in for the pool opening. So
I see, and while the kids are happily partying poolside,
Parents are happily squandering their inheritance inside.
and I thought she was a music lover.
I'm a money lover.
we then whoosh over to Mary and Danny, and this is just... I'm sorry, D&D shippers. This is a dairy episode. This is a strictly dairy episode. We're going to hear a little nugget that we're actually going to dip into a little bit more next season. But here we have Mary talking to Danny about how when they were kids, they would always make it to opening day at the pool and snuck in, and now they're the ones keeping people out. We then whoosh through into the casino, and we see, it's my other favorite Montecito, Queen Nessa. She's walking through the casino, and she is met by a guest who is asking for Natalie LaPointe. He wants to maybe sit at her table and play a little blackjack at her table. He needs a little luck right now, and she's his lucky dealer. And so Nessa says she's going to check for him. We whoosh through to the Bellicera, and Ed is sitting there talking to one of the big whales and talking to their kids and saying, enjoy the Everlast concert, the private concert, and this kid with the ridiculously oversized bill on his cap, no one was wearing baseball caps. First off, no one was wearing baseball caps like that in 2004, and let me tell you why. The bill is curved. No kid was wearing curved-billed baseball caps in 2004 to look cool at all. Nobody was. Straight. The bills on the baseball caps had to be straight, like brand new. Also, that bill is entirely too long. Also, in 2004, the baseball caps had to look brand new. Do you remember? I guess the best way to describe that to you youngins, God, would be the Key and Peele sketch where both of them are walking down the street with their fresh new caps. So fresh to the point that I think one of them has a sweatshop worker on his head manufacturing the cap as he's walking. That's how new it looks. Yeah, so that's the premise of the sketch, but it's based in real life. We wore baseball caps with the new stickers still on them. Now, take the stickers off as soon as you get them, but we had the new stickers on them. It had to look like it's brand new. It almost had to look like you stole it. Like there were some people, I did see some people with the price tag still on it. I didn't keep the price tag on it. But I did have stickers on my caps for a long time.
Which was the style at the time.
Anyway, this stereotype of a kid says...
Yeah, it's gonna be way sick.
Yeah, way sick. Okay, then.
You guys need anything?
What are you doing?
And of course, Danny, it being Danny, he just left Mary by the pool. By the way, this is another... All right. So this is another episode where either Danny is Danny the Flash, where either Danny is the fastest man alive or he's teleporting, because 5 seconds ago he was just at the pool. We whooshed from the pool to Nessa to Bellicera. Danny could not have been faster than the whoosh. But he's in Bellicera, flirting with, looks like at least 2 women, and they're all blondes too. I've noticed a pattern. Blondes seem to come up a lot. There's two women there. And he's flirting with them, and they're flirting back because, of course, as we all know, that's Danny Zachariah McCoy. He's the sexiest man in all the land. The sexiest land of all the lands, Las Vegas. He's the sexiest of all the sexies. And as the writers have told us over and over and over again, Danny McCoy is the epitome of manhood. No woman can resist him. Clearly, as was demonstrated here, again, almost as if it's mandatory. And he is broken up by Ed, who wants to help him get back to work a little bit. And they talk over a really bad dice switch. The dice were blue with glitter. And apparently even the bad guys take the day off for the pool opening back up in Vegas. That's like saying you're going to retire in 2 days, Danny. Yes. We whoosh through to the lobby and we see Delinda walking with Gunther. I love Gunther. Welcome back, Gunther. Gunther. El Cook General Gunther. The cook general, the restaurant general, the food general. The food general. El Food General Gunther. As he's walking through the casino. And apparently, Delinda has Gunther as a backup for a cooking demonstration that she is going to put on in the casino because Emerald could not make it.
Gunther, I can't tell you how much I appreciate this. When Emerald backed out at the last minute, I thought for sure we'd have to cancel the cooking demo.
Yeah. You were finished, through, kaput. But now you turn to Gunther to help you and you think everything is forgiven, yeah?
But Gunther is kind enough to fill in for him. But Delinda's going to owe him because don't you remember, Gunther...
Are you still upset I didn't ask you first?
Listen to me. Gunther is like an elephant with big ears and a long memory.
Well, yeah, but Emerald is a huge celebrity chef, you know,
Yeah, but
bam.
And then Gunther retorts that...
I'm Gunther, and in Las Vegas, there is no star brighter than Gunther.
Wait!
Yeah, Delinda. Cha. The only one close is Cosme. So this guest is sitting at a table. Nessa comes back up and says that Natalie isn't there yet. She seems to be running late. She'll come back later. This guy is going to sit at this table and is going to wait for Natalie. Nessa tells him that's not possible. The table he's sitting at is closed. Nessa is telling him that he's got to go play anywhere else until this guy tells our darling Nessa,
"Sir, you're welcome to play anywhere in the casino, but this pit's closed."
I don't think so.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to call security.
That'd be a huge mistake.
And why's that?
Because I've got a bomb strapped to my chest.
and of course we cut to the intro. This, of course, being the Las Vegas intro, is the best intro in the business. If you're watching this on a streaming service and it asks you if you want to skip the intro, by all means, feel free to skip that streaming service. I mean, or not. I'm not holding you hostage. I don't have a bomb. All right? Just do what you want. We come back from the intro and we see people playing in the pool again. Well, the pools are open. The pool is a central piece to this episode. If you're watching on the original version, the song that you're going to be listening to when you hear this is Sun Lotion by Stedman. I don't think it's Oprah Stedman, but it is in fact by Stedman. If you're watching on the DVD, the song is going to be Sunshine by Waking Hours. If you're watching on the streaming services, it's going to be Summer Star by Josh Kessler. Now this song is slightly interesting. It's the worst of the three. It's not terrible. It's actually not bad. It's actually not a terrible song. It fits the least of the three songs that we have in this particular scene because the lyrics are about laying on the beach in California. They specifically mention Pacific Coast Highway, PCH. So if you hear the lyrics, it doesn't fit. Sure, they're in the sun, but it's not about being next to the pool. It's about literally being at the beach. There's no beach in Las Vegas. But who am I? I just pay attention to details. Actually, I don't even really try to pay attention to details. Details just smack me in the face. That's probably why I don't work for these networks. Otherwise, stuff might make sense. We do get to see just a bunch of gorgeous people. And I guess the closest thing that they have that says anything about being at the beach is that there is an undershot of a waitress bringing drinks and you see palm trees in the back. Okay, I guess, but it's still in Las Vegas. There's still no beach in Las Vegas. Anyway, we cut to some kids at a table, and Mary is telling them that they cannot drink the drinks, despite the fact that their parents ordered them for them. It's still illegal. And so she is babysitting the group of overprivileged, underaged, literal children that are around her, and giving a slight rundown to Danny of exactly what's happening. Danny's looking cool in this episode too, with his unbuttoned shirt and the tan suit and all. He's looking cool and casual too, and of course Mary's looking as good as possible. And then Mary, remember I told you about that little nugget that we were going to see more of in season 2? This is where we hear it for the first time. Mary recalls the tale of Mary and Danny going to see Duran Duran at the Hard Rock.
Hey, Danny, do you remember when we saw Duran Duran at the Hard Rock?
1995, security grabbed us the minute we hopped the second fence, remember that? And we would have been kicked out if you hadn't convinced him that Simon LeBlanc was your date, remember that?
We finally made it in, just as they started singing Rio. And then if I remember correctly, didn't we make out through the whole song?
Man, was I horny.
Danny, don't attribute that. Yes, sure. But also that's Mary Connell. Shut up. You know why you made out with her during Rio. Shut up, Danny.
Though I can't remember which is more fun, the concert, the kissing, or the sneaking in.
Me neither.
And then he hugs her, and then he kisses her on the side and the top of her head. I'm sorry, D&D shippers. I'm sorry. There's a reason Derry shippers ship that hard for Danny and Mary, and it's stuff like this. And yes, we will hear more about their adventures with Duran Duran in season 2, and I can't wait to get to that episode. That may be, I'm gonna put it out there, that's an early contender for my favorite season 2 episode. There's a ton going on in that episode. I love that episode. We'll get to that when we get to that. We've got a couple, this one and then the season finale next week, but that episode in season 2, oh, it's so fantastic. It's fantastic. Anyway, we cut back to the blackjack table, and the man who is holding Nessa hostage because he's got a bomb takes a hit off of an 11 and gets...
Where is she?
I don't know. Another card?
Yeah, sure. Hit me. Guess it's my lucky day.
Who is this guy, by the way, who's holding one of our queens? The Ice Queen, in fact, Nessa Holt, and that's probably the only reason why she was this calm, because she is the Ice Queen after all. She's got nerves of steel. She's not shaken by anything. This guy is an actor by the name of Salvatore Zuareb. Now, Salvatore is a twin brother with another actor, Emmanuel Zuareb. So Salvatore is an accomplished actor. The first thing you've seen him in is he's the doorman at the club for Janet Jackson's Rhythm Nation, 1984. That's quite the debut. That's quite the debut. He then does Alien Nation, Doogie Howser, MD, The Outsiders, the TV show. Okay, so that's where it falls off. He was also in Natural Born Killers with his brother as French boy number 1. He was in The Chronicle as Roger Holland for an episode. You know who else was in The Chronicle? Reno Wilson, one of my favorite special guest stars, yes, as well as Rena Sofer, who is a current partner with Vanessa Marcil in Rescuing Dogs. So if you find Vanessa Marcil on Instagram, her and Rena Sofer are talking about Rescuing Dogs all over the place. They are fundraising for it. Very good cause. Go find out as much information on that as possible. He then stops by the Montecito for this episode as Jerry Spires. We're later going to find out his name. Actually, we find out his name at the beginning. He then goes on to do an episode of House. I feel like I remember that episode. I definitely remember that episode. He then goes on to do... oh, yeah. The Puppet Masters version of Knight Rider for an episode in 2009. I really recognized him when I saw this again. I was like, I've seen him before. And I looked it up and I'm like, wait a minute. Wasn't he on Leverage? He was. He was on Leverage for an episode as Jim Carrady III. He then did an episode of the show Dark Blue as Agent Tom Bryant. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it also starred former guest star Nikki A. Cox. Yes, the connections all over the place. Remember how Natural Born Killers played French boy number 1? Well, he then goes on to Captain America Winter Soldier as French pirate number 1. How about that? And the latest thing you can see him in is Monsters as Robert Shapiro for one episode. Also, so you remember how I said that he has a twin brother? So if you haven't recognized him from any of that stuff, you actually probably recognize him from other stuff, but it wasn't him, it was his twin brother. And they really are twins. His twin brothers debuted in The Bonfire of the Vanities. Go find videos on that train wreck of a movie. Tom Hanks, Bruce Willis, and Melanie Griffith back in 1990. Natural Born Killers is French boy number 2, of course. Bad Boys is Eddie Dominguez. That's where I thought I recognized him from, but apparently it wasn't him. It was his brother. His brother was also in New York Undercover as Zeb, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Cold Case, Passions as Stuart Allen. Now, why did I say Passions like that? Passions is in the Las Vegas universe. They crossed. There was a crossover episode and everything. Yes. He was also in Criminal Minds for an episode, and Dark Real in 2008 is the last thing you could see his brother Emmanuel in, unless you're looking to flip your house. You follow them on TikTok, you can see their adventures as house flippers now. That's the Zuareb brothers. I'm sure I'm butchering their names, but the Zuareb brothers, specifically Salvatore. And Salvatore is the one right now who is causing us the most trouble at the Montecito. Of course, the cool, calm, and collected Ice Queen herself, Nessa, is not fazed by this guy one bit. Ed walks by with our boy Greg from security to check out a clipboard, and Nessa calls him Mr. Harville and says that his table is ready. Ed clearly knows something is up, because don't you know Ed is obviously not Harville, and obviously not supposed to play at a table. But Nessa brings him over because she is definitely in trouble.
Excuse me, Mr. Harville.
Yeah?
Mr. Harville, I'm sorry I wasn't able to meet you in the Balisara, but your table's ready.
Is it? Thought you forgot me.
Get him out of here.
I've been his dealer for 5 years. Security would get suspicious.
Well, guess what, Jerry? That's where you screwed up, because everyone knows something's up right now, because Ed just got in a credit line of $25,000, and he's sitting at the table, and he's looking dead at the camera above him, because he knows that his team will pick this up. And sure enough, they do as we whoosh through, and the first person to see it is Johnny on the spot himself, Mitch.
Ed Harville, New York.
Jerry Spires.
How you doing, Jer?
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Mitch.
I want to show you something. Can you bring up 34 on P9 for me?
Sure, Mitch.
She's in Cabana 6.
Let's move him out of there.
What the hell is Ed doing at the tables?
Can you push in?
Sure.
What is he doing?
Hitting a soft 17 against a 5? I'm gonna go down for a closer look.
I'm good.
And you? 18.
Jerry, what are we here for? The convention, what do they got here this week? Sheet metal. They got that home fixture show. Me personally, I love people. I just love people.
No, I live in Henderson, and I'm just waiting for my girlfriend. She's running late.
She got a name or something?
Natalie LaPointe.
Natalie's one of our dealers.
I like that. It's nice, man.
We've been having some problems. We were gonna get married in Venice, in Italy.
I've been in relationships, I've been in situationships, I've been in situations where somebody wants to have that talk. A bomb was never involved. So obviously something more is going on here than they've had some kerfuffles recently and Jerry just wants to talk. Ed asks, why are you meeting here if you just want to talk? Well, she's been having second thoughts. Second thoughts. See, this story is not really making sense. He's saying that they kind of want to meet on neutral ground. Ed is talking about calling her, but Jerry is saying that it's got to be in person. This is not making sense yet so far. Danny comes in and he's hearing the story himself, and he understands. He's picking up the signals that everyone is laying down that something is not quite right here. Ed is asking Danny for tickets to some show at the Rio called...
Oh, excuse me, son. Would you mind terribly? I mean, if you got a chance, there's a show over there at the Rio. Rio. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but it's Cherchez La Femme. I didn't get a couple tickets to it, so if you could help me, I'd really be appreciative. And I hear these girls got a drop full of talent over there. Am I right? Am I right?
You're right. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Oh, split these, will you?
And Ed asked to split two aces on his way out of that scene, and very creatively, we then whoosh over to, not whoosh, but we pan over to the cooking demonstration, and it's Gunther who's splitting an apple into two. Let's let the dealer shuffle the deck for a second, and we'll be right back.
Okay, I'm your amigo. Okay, I'm your amiga. Let's dance the night away until our bodies got fever.
You're listening to Bundeswing by 1989 TRE. If you like what you're hearing and you want to hear more, hear it again, or both, just go to Spotify and search 1989 TRE, all one word. That's 1989, the letters TRE.
More drinks, tequila, more memories needed. We're gonna live in the moment, como esta noche para siempre. My life is crazy, just like a movie scene. I've been so many places and seen beautiful things, but my mind is captured by this beautiful queen.
in front of nobody. Now, they were able to get the sign, Vegas is cooking with Gunther, but Delinda's there, and she's definitely nervous. Gunther is talking to absolutely nobody as everyone is walking by. He's trying to be entertaining. Here's the thing, Gunther's still entertaining, but nobody's watching. And and we could talk about why nobody's watching, because Sam is going to bring it to Delinda's attention why nobody's watching a little bit later. But as of right now, she's got a problem. A, nobody's watching, and 2, Gunther's upset.
You know how people get on Vegas time? Maybe you should start again.
Yeah, but maybe you should want Emerald to come and save the day, huh?
Don't be ridiculous. Doing the best you can.
Yeah, but not as good as Emerald. Maybe Delinda should want Emerald to cook at Mystique, too.
Don't be silly. Emerald already has 2 of the hottest restaurants in Vegas.
Delinda, did you think this out? I don't think Delinda thought this out. I don't think Delinda thought this particular thing out with the cooking demonstration. This whole thing seems half-baked, to say the least. Not baked at all, because Emerald can't get past chopping an apple. She wanted him to start again, indicating that he had already started at least once.
What? I quit. Benito, come on, we go now.
Gunther.
Where are you, little gypsy boy, you? All right, I leave alone.
Are you crazy?
So Gunther leaves Delinda all alone there on the cooking demonstration, and if we're being perfectly honest, I'm with Gunther on this. The music here for Gunther's cooking demonstration seemingly is nothing, right? But it turns out it actually is something. It's the Holtz Connect Polka. Spell that? How long you got? HOLZKNECHT dash polka by Die DIE, the TIROLER, Tiroler, Blasusikanten, BLASUSIKANTEN. That's the song that's playing on all versions of Gunther's first cooking demonstration. Danny brings Mike in through their hall, of course, gotta go through their hall, but he doesn't know exactly what's going on, so he has to bring Mike in to kind of get an idea of exactly what we're looking at here.
If this Jerry Spires is a problem, why didn't Nessa just throw him out? Or at least have Ed throw him out?
I guess his Ed doesn't know what's going on. Although Nessa was calling him Mr. Horrible and he was playing along with it. So
what are we supposed to do?
We?
Yeah, I just figured.
All right. Well, when I was leaving, Ed asked me to get him a couple tickets to Cherchez la Femme at the Rio.
There's no such show.
No, Cherchez la Femme means find the girl.
So they can't find Natalie. She's running late. And this has been brought up a couple of times that she's running late. Danny's going to run a check on this Jerry Spires guy. They're not bringing Luis in just yet. But what we are going to see that's going to alter the scenario here is Delinda. And she gets dead in the middle of Ed and Jerry Spires. And she starts going off about how Gunther wasn't at the cooking demonstration, etc. She's ignoring Nessa. She's ignoring how Nessa is acting right now. I guess maybe because she considers that to be Nessa's Ice Queen persona. But Nessa, even when talking to the other cast members, the other Montecito crew, is usually friendlier than this. Even when she's in Ice Queen mode. But Delinda is so distraught over the fact that Gunther left the cooking demonstration that she immediately has to go and talk to Daddy, who really can't help her right now.
Delinda.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, Annie.
I'm having the worst day of my entire life. Gunther walked off. I can't find Benito, and now the cooking demo's ruined. What am I gonna do?
I don't know. I'm sure you'll think of something.
And to top it off, my head feels like it's going to explode. You ever get that feeling?
Frequently.
That's a great line. It's a great line. That's a really good line. But Delinda is she's very self-absorbed right now because she wanted this cooking demonstration to go as well as possible, but Ed can't exactly help her. And she gives a tip to Ed that maybe he shouldn't be gambling at his own casino. Now, one episode ago, Delinda was smarter than a trained, practicing psychiatrist. She picked up on every clue. But here, with the way Nessa's acting, with the fact that Ed is gambling in his own casino on what I'm sure knows is probably his shift. She can't pick up any clues. She's so distracted by the cooking demonstration. I don't know if that's that, but that's not against character type. That is very Delinda. That's the thing. The way they wrote Delinda, that's very Delinda. And we cut back to the conversation there at the table, and Ed is trying to talk to Jerry Spires about his issues with his girlfriend, his alleged girlfriend, Natalie Lapointe.
What's Ed doing?
Oh, he appears to be pissing him off.
He's good at that.
Yeah.
But why would he be doing that?
To see if he'll tip his hand.
That's generally speaking good strategy here, but Ed doesn't exactly know what he's working with. So he moves over to Jerry Spires, and he gets just a little bit too familiar, a little bit too friendly there with him. Obviously, it gets Jerry Spires to brush him off and away, and Ed, we get this great 3D shot, this great 3D motion shot, which is actually pretty similar to, like I said, my favorite shot is in the intro with Ed and Danny checking out the casino, and we do the 360 around them. We get that great 360, I don't know if it's not stop motion, but that great panoramic view shot. I guess it would be a panoramic view, maybe. You see it on all the award shows now. Every award show is doing that big 360 shot around all the stars, or a couple of the stars at least, the bigger stars they can get. And we get that shot here, and we get to see what's in Jerry's coat, and it is a bomb.
On this, my buddy Jerry here needs a little help with the ladies. So by right, leave me alone.
And Mike picked up on it very quick.
Cue time mark. Step back 10 frames a second.
And we get to see that it is, in fact, a bomb.
C4?
About an ounce. Just enough to kill everyone at the table.
Assuming that it's real.
And Danny is almost being telepathic here, because you see Ed doing something with his hands. He's wiping his hands. And Danny said...
All right, you see that? He swiped his hands. Ed knows he saw it too.
I don't know that that's necessarily a hand signal for a bomb, you wiping your hands, but the show has to show, so we're getting away with it here. Danny, thinking very quickly, sends down a waitress to send a napkin down there to the table so that they can kind of see if the bomb is real. In the meantime, Danny's taking full charge of this. This is the peak Danny I like to see.
Son of a bitch. Okay, until we know for sure what's going on down there, I want a 30-foot perimeter around that table with our people. I don't want any guests near them. Get Metro on the phone, Mitch. And post security at all the entrances, notify all the parking attendants. I don't want Natalie hitting the floor.
Danny Metro's on the line.
Luis, this is Danny. Listen, we got a problem. A serious problem.
And Ed knows exactly what's happening. He's looking dead into Jerry's eyes. And I guess he's trying to get a feel for exactly what Jerry's going to do. So Ed goes a seat over to give Jerry a little bit of space there, and we get the drinks.
About time.
I'm not thirsty.
Come on, Jed, don't be a girl. Come on, have a drink. Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm really sorry, man.
Back up.
Hey, come here.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, Jerry, we're waiting for Natalie, remember?
Hey, I'm just looking to have a little fun here. Gee, sorry. Bring me another one, sweetheart, will you?
And then very quickly, so Ed here is... He succeeded in pissing Jerry off. I'll tell you that much. If this were just some guy sitting at the table with me, I'd probably have gotten up and left the table. But considering the situation that we're talking about here, there's a reason for Ed acting this way, and there's a reason why Jerry can't and or won't leave the table. But very quickly, I got to give a nod to the security team. They've reached that perimeter. They're in plain clothes too, very fast, super duper fast. They got there very fast. And we whoosh through and we see all the security agents. Nessa sees them too. She knows what's happening. Everyone around Jerry knows what's happening except for Jerry. Now we got Luis brought in there, and Danny is briefing him on exactly what's happening. We've run a check on Jerry. We've run a check on Natalie Lapointe. they're going to get a car sent to her house, and we know one more thing now, thanks to Mike and his expertise, because of course, Mike is the smartest man of all smartest men. So I talked about this in the previous episodes, where because Mike is the resident geek tech guy, he has to know everything. He has to know everything about every kind of device, every kind of formula, every kind of semi-scientific technobabble, whatever, including how to decipher if a bomb is real or not. And he knows that the bomb is in fact real. He did some kind of mock-up test where he could configure that the bomb is in fact real.
So what do we know?
We know the bomb is real.
And now we've got an episode. We come back to the pool again, and the pool is full of just gorgeous people. People getting splashed all around. You see the people sun tanning. Even the waitresses are attractive. We see the palm trees again. Very reminiscent of Groundhog Summer, where we saw the palm trees and the people laying around as well. Only not nearly as much sand as last time, because remember that last time that guy got sand all in his drink, the one that was laid out by the pool. If you're watching on the original version for that shot, the song that you're going to hear is Feeling This by Blink-182. Ask your parents, kid. If you're watching on the DVD, it seems to be a production song. Just talking about going on and 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 on. And if you're watching on the streaming services, it seems to be a different production song that I couldn't trace at all. We come back into the Montecito, and people are getting cleared from the area. And now, Jerry is noticing. Because there are fewer and fewer bodies around him. Jerry's got the trigger in his wrist. Ed is keeping an eye on the situation. Nessa's trying to keep him distracted, but it's too late. He already sees what's happening. Ed finally has to talk to Jerry and say that he's not horrible.
Jerry.
What's going on?
What do you mean?
No one's supposed to leave.
Well, hey, Natalie's coming.
Yeah, what if she doesn't come?
Jerry, my name is not horrible. My name is Ed DeLine, and I'm president of operations for the Montecito Hotel, okay?
That's why Natalie isn't coming, right?
Well,
huh?
Just take it easy.
They know?
She's got nothing to do with this. It's me. I'm the guy you need. And we'll talk about it outside, you and I. We'll get up together, and we'll walk out of here. And I promise you, Jerry, nothing will happen to you, okay?
That is... Listen, I know they all do that, and in those high-tension situations, I'm sure that's one of the tactics that you try to use against somebody who's in a situation like this. But if you've watched enough television, you've watched enough crime shows, you've watched enough To Catch a Predator, that's probably not true, right? That's probably not entirely correct. But sure, you have to say that. Jerry now wants a phone because now he wants to talk to them, the people who are running this whole shindig, you see. And so Ed gives him a phone. He puts it down on the table. So we cut to the pool now, and we see Sam talking to security about the protocol for the concert. Now, one other thing that we see, if you watch this scene from the very beginning, and you look to the top left corner of your screen, you will see an extra in a yellow shirt who is supposed to be a Montecito employee, stagehand, setting up the stage for the Everlast concert a little bit later. First off, this is super early for him to be setting up the stage for the Everlast concert. Unless time has passed a lot faster than it seems to have passed in the episode. Unless this is more towards the later in the afternoon part. Because remember, the episode starts at noon. So I would imagine this is supposed to not be in real time, though it feels like it's in real time. In any event, this guy is sitting there waiting for his cue to start after the scene has already started. You can see him just sitting in the corner waiting, and then he starts walking after the scene has already started. That's just something I picked up. But Sam is talking to the security guys about what to look for, people charging drinks to rooms that don't exist, basically trying to keep the riffraff out of the concert. And Sam comes up to Mary and gives her the list for the concert.
It's for you.
60 people? That's the entire guest list for Everlast?
Yeah.
The culinary can hold 5 times that, enough to let in just a few locals.
I think it's touching that you still identify with the poor, hapless locals.
You used to be one too, you know, poor, hapless.
Nah, I don't intend on ever going back.
Sam is cold, man. Sam is cold, but in that scene, did you hear that? Oh, I heard it. Did you hear it? That sounded like Montecito magic. I thought I heard the fairy dust. Maybe not. Thought I heard it. We cut back into surveillance, and now it is an entire happening. Jerry's on the phone with Danny, not Luis, which is an interesting call here. Of course, I know Danny is the star of the show, but we're on the phone with Danny instead of Luis, and Danny is trying to calm Jerry down at least. He's got him on speakerphone. Jerry wants to talk to Natalie.
You don't understand. I need to talk to Natalie.
Okay, maybe we can work something out.
No, there's nothing to work out. There's nothing to work out. I've got a bomb strapped to me. Do you understand? And I'm gonna blow this whole place up if you try anything.
Okay, we're not gonna try anything. All right, we just want to talk.
No talk. No talk, and no more taking people out of the casino. I want Natalie now.
Okay, like I said, she's on her way. We just want to talk to you for a minute. We don't want any troubles. Okay, no, Jack!
We then cut to the Belisara, where Delinda and Dan and Gunther are there. Gunther is drowning his sorrows in alcohol because he's not...
Oh, we're not a shining star like Mr. Big Shot.
You just need something for people to know you by. A trademark.
Wait a second. Yeah, I know what Gunther needs. He needs a catchphrase.
Well, you do refer to yourself in the third person.
No, that's only a pretentious affectation.
I love that. That's a great line. That's a great self-aware line there by Gunther. Oh, I love it so much. Gunther talks about catchphrases that he needs.
How does whoosh sound to you, huh? Oh, that's good, no?
No.
Delinda, this is another case in this episode already where I disagree with you. Whoosh sounds tremendous. Whoosh is amazing. Whoosh makes the world go round. Whoosh makes Las Vegas go round. Whoosh is the word. It's the word that you've heard. It's got a groove, it's got a meaning. I'm down with whoosh. But Gunther goes through a list of other ones.
Sploot.
No.
I like this one. Sploot is good. Shazoos.
Can we give a hat off to our boy Harry and how amazing an actor he is? With the comic timing, with the physical timing, with the spin and the fall. That's tremendous. Give him the Emmy. Give him all the Emmys. Give him every single Emmy. Please and thank you. Give him all the every single Emmy. We go back to the table, and unfortunately, Jerry is still there. They go over the details again. He only has an ounce of C4. And then Danny and Mike kind of figure out maybe he didn't make the bomb. And then we cut to Mitch, who says that they found Natalie. She's passed out in the living room. Wonder what that line is going to tie up. We cut back to the table, and Ed gives a story about how he knows how to lose a girl. And this story does touch a vein in Jerry Spire's, I would say, heart. I'm going to say psyche. Clearly, Jerry's off. So this is another way to know that Jerry is off. Because the mood swings that Ed has had back and forth, the personality changes that Ed has had back and forth, the stories that Ed has told back and forth, if you were thinking in your right head, you would know something is off. But because Jerry's not in his right mind, because Jerry is not himself the most coherent, other than saying, I have a bomb, he's following along, he's going through with it. And I think that works to Ed's advantage, that Ed knows the psyche of a guy like this, that he knows that he can kind of do certain things in these different boundaries. But Jerry himself, if he was actually following the bouncing ball, he would know something, because between the last scene where Ed was all over him and calling him a girl and all this other stuff, to now where I lost my girl, I lost my wife, I was married, you see. Oh, you can't, I just couldn't take the ring off, pal. Between that and this story, it's you know, it's a disconnect.
But he said he was going to blow the whole place up. But you said there was barely an ounce of C4 in that bomb, right?
Yeah, just enough to take out the table he's sitting at.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
All right, either this guy's completely nuts, or he didn't make that bomb.
Thanks. Danny, they just found Natalie. She was passed out in her living room. They're bringing her in now.
Jerry, how about another hand?
Hey, man, I know how it is to lose a girl and how it feels.
Sure you do. You're married.
Oh, yeah. I sure was. We separated about 6 months ago. 30 years, man.
What happened?
You know, we fought a lot. And I believe there's only, a certain amount of fights in a marriage. After a while, there's no number of I'm sorry's that'll fix things. And I guess one day she just decided it was easy to go, then try again.
Yeah, well, Natalie and I were never like that. We never fought. Not ever.
Not ever. What the heck are you doing this for?
And hey, that's a good question. If Jerry and Natalie never fought, then how do we get here? Ed then tries to reason with him again, telling him that this is not the way. But Jerry is not in the right mind for reasoning. He is going to play a little bit more. And we see, going through that hallway again, it's Danny with a couple of sheriffs, a couple of Las Vegas PD, Metro PD behind him, and Natalie LaPointe as she comes through, talking about how she is flabbergasted that she was this late for work because she's never late for work. And Danny says it's okay. She says, no, it's not. So what that does, that's a good point. What that does is that establishes the kind of employee that Natalie is. She's not making excuses. She says it's not okay that she's not late for work. She's the employee that's there, that believes the line, if you're 5 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired. She believes that adage. Okay, fine. And that probably makes sense for a job like hers where you're a dealer and you're relieving somebody from their shift. Again, I've said this before. If you're relieving somebody from their shift, then yes, being on time is more important than it would be for another job where, not necessarily that important. But you're relieving somebody from their shift, yes, it's important to be there on time. And Natalie can't exactly understand what happened in the morning, why she's that late. And Danny says they have an issue with her boyfriend. And she says, what did Todd do now? Todd? We haven't met a Todd. We met a Jerry.
Jerry?
That's not your boyfriend, Jerry Spires?
Yeah, right. He lives down the hall from me.
So you guys have never gone out?
Are you kidding? I said hi to the guy with the mailbox once. The next thing I knew, he wouldn't leave me alone. Didn't take long before it went from weird to scary.
Well, before we get into the details of that, let's talk about Natalie LaPointe here. Natalie LaPointe is played by Lisa Arturo. Lisa's first credit was with John Cusack, Jennifer Tilly, Chaz Palminteri, Diane Wiest in Bullets Over Broadway in the Three Deuces chorus line. She then did 2 episodes of Married with Children, which probably put her on the radar of the producers of that show, because she then did an episode as Cookie in 1997 of Unhappily Ever After with our own Nikki Cox. Yes! How about that? She then was in American Pie 2, where you probably know her best from as Amber in 2021. She did this episode of Las Vegas. She also did Days of Our Lives for 3 episodes as Lulu Weiner. That's quite the character name, Lisa. Also, Las Vegas loves their soap opera stars. She also did an episode of General Hospital, Say Hi to Sam. And the last thing you could see her in recently was The Rookie as Cindy in 2021 for an episode. That's Lisa Arturo. Lisa Arturo here as Natalie LaPointe is the object of Jerry Spires' I don't know what I call it, affection.
Was showing up at my door in the middle of the night, leaving me notes on my car. Finally, I told him, leave me alone or I'm calling the cops. Is he causing any trouble?
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay, not affection. Certainly not affection. That is crimes. Those are crimes. Those are punishable crimes that he should be punished for. And by the end of this episode, because he showed up to the Podecito, he will be. Now, here's the thing. Luis's bomb squad guys are talking, and they are ready to, not even bomb squad guys, snipers. They're ready to take this guy out.
We've mobilized downstairs. Our sharpshooters are getting into position.
Well, you put a 2-inch hole in a guy's head, you're liable to severely shorten the buffet line. You sure Mayor Goodman's going to be okay with that?
Profiling a guy like this, the longer this goes, the more likely we are to lose the hostages. We get a shot. We're taking
Sir, with all due respect, even if he hit the guy, he could still set off the bomb.
Danny, this is going to happen so fast, he'll be dead before his head hits the ground.
That's the plan right now.
Why don't you take a little break? Yeah, that's a good idea. You're going to stretch the legs, wash the face, refocus. There you go.
I assume you're interested in large amounts of money.
It's Vegas, who isn't?
If you like the podcast and you want to help support it, you can send a Cash App, join our Patreon or Subscribe Star, or buy us a coffee. Just search The Podecito on all those platforms. As we go back to the table, Nessa tells Jerry that they're never going to bring Natalie down because if they do, they think he'll kill her. Which, yeah, no kidding. Jerry tells Ed,
Look, Jerry, they're never going to bring Natalie down.
How do you know that?
I think if they do, you'll kill her. It's over, Jerry.
No, it's not. They'll never let me walk away. They'll kill me first.
However, as that's happening, all the snipers are getting in position. Jerry, realistically right now, is a dead man talking. And Mike and Danny can't do nothing about it because the snipers are going to take their shot. And Ed's looking around. He sees them. He knows where they're coming from. There's one in one of the cars that they're going to give away. Nessa's talking to him a little bit more.
Jerry, if you know they're going to kill you, why not give up? Save yourself.
Doesn't matter what they do to me. If she blows me off, that bitch will get hers too. We made sure of it. We made 2 bombs.
We made 2 bombs. And now Ed knows that there is an issue. And he's trying to tap out Morse code. Now here's where the show is showing. Here's where... So, because Danny is Danny, they can get away with this. Because Danny has military training as a Marine, he can get away with this. And because Danny is the second best security guy in all of Vegas after Ed, the show can get away with this. But Ed is tapping out Morse code. None of the cops are noticing the Morse code because they're all looking to take this guy's head off. And they're about to do it. Luis is ready to do it. The snipers are in position. The sniper team is ready to go. They got a bullseye right on Jerry's ear. They're ready to take him out. I don't know if you know this. It's going to hurt a little bit more than a Q-tip. He might not even feel it, actually. It's going to be more effective, though, than a Q-tip in cleaning him out. But because Danny is looking at the screen and he's looking at every instance of the screen, he can see Ed tapping with his fingers. And he's zoomed in. By the way, he didn't zoom in. Somebody is zoomed in. So here's another thing with this show. We see people watching the monitors all the time. And sometimes they tell the security team to zoom in on something or watch something, right? And sometimes they don't. And this is a time where they're not. Danny just happened to pick up on Ed tapping the table. Nobody was told to zoom in on Ed's fingers. They just happen to zoom in on Ed's fingers because they have to zoom in on Ed's fingers so that Danny can know what's happening. There's really no real reason that the security guys would think that Ed is doing anything interesting or different with his fingers than normal. They would probably have that same shot in real life, but because the show has to show, then yes, we get to see the zoom in on Ed's fingers as he's tapping out Morse code.
Tango's fingers on trigger. Too much foot traffic. I can't get a clean shot. Position. Negative. Not without exposure. Tango's still.
Roger. I'm at 33 meters. Sierra 2 ready. Sierra 2, you have a green light. Wait for trigger to clear.
2.
Roger.
Stop.
What are you talking about?
Don't shoot. Tell him not to shoot.
Finger's still on the trigger.
Stop! Ed's sending a message.
Stand down.
Stand down. Repeat. Stand down.
01, standing down. Sierra 2, standing down. Zone 1, standing down.
There's a second bomb.
As we come back from commercial, we see scantily clad people over by the pool, and as we do, we hear on the original version of the episode, Where Are We Running by Lenny Kravitz, which, now that I heard it again, yeah, this was a fairly popular song. You heard it not all the time, but you did hear it a lot. It's a pretty good song. I like it. I like Lenny Kravitz in general. If you're watching on the DVD, the song is Movin' It, without the G, put the apostrophe there instead, by The Flash Express. Not a bad song. If you're watching on the streaming services, the song is Legends Don't Die by 911, spelled out 911, both all 3 words spelled out. Not a bad song also. I would suggest adding it to a playlist. It's a good song. It's a halfway decent song. I'm sure it came out later than the episode did, but it does feel reminiscent of early 2000s rock and music that you would hear around Vegas or party atmospheres, etc. So that one actually fits. I like that one. But you do get your fair share of beach bodies all over the place, because why wouldn't you? This is Las Vegas. That's part of what they're selling. And we cut back into the casino, and Mary's having an existential crisis about how she feels bad about keeping people out of this exclusive party. Now, also keep in mind, this is Las Vegas. You're a special events manager. That's kind of partially what you do. You keep people out and stuff, you know what I mean? But she's feeling some sort of existential crisis, and Sam is not. Sam is not. She is telling her,
I tell you what, after this weekend, we'll do something charitable and wipe the karmic blackboard clean for you.
And today we serve the whales, tomorrow we save them.
And we cut to a very intense conversation in their hallway between Danny and Luis. Luis wants to empty out the casino because of the second bomb. They don't know where the second bomb is. He's thinking about the overall safety of a lot of different people, and Danny's trying not to cause a panic. And I honestly, again, this is still Danny in laser focus mode here. And again, I like Luis. We all like Luis. We all love Luis, actually. I do. But on this show, he very often plays the role of one that doesn't actually contribute to solving the crimes of the week. He seems to be the head detective for Metro PD, and yet he seems very often to get more in the way than he does to actually helping to solve or stop any of these crimes. He very often plays a very likable but almost bumbling, cop figure, which is a trope. Like, he's not bumbling, because he's not like stumbling and bumbling. He's not like, goofy or anything like that. But his plans so far do generally seem to not be in the best interest of solving the case. And sometimes his points of view have more strength to them than others. This one doesn't have a terrible strength to it. He wants people to be safe and to clear the casino. Here's the problem, though. We don't know what's triggering these bombs. We don't know where these bombs are. So while we're trying to disperse the casino of everybody, we could just be causing more chaos. We could be leading these people into a death trap. We could be causing a sensation that actually triggers the bomb because they see everybody leave, the same way Jerry saw everybody from his section leave. So Danny's more laser focused in here than Luis is. And I say that really liking Luis. But in this confrontation, I'm team Danny on this one.
I'm gonna do what I should have done in the first place. I'm evacuating the casino.
You cannot evacuate the casino, Luis. Our convention hall is filled with people. The pools are packed. Gunther's holding a food expo in the North Hall.
That's funny. That's a nice little tension breaker. Gunther's holding a food exhibition in the North Hall. That's a nice little tension breaker. Luis says the second bomb could be anywhere. He's not taking his chances. That's the thing. He actually is taking his chances by trying to clear it out because the second bomb could be anywhere. He's actually working against his own argument if he decides he wants to clear the casino. And they have this very intense conversation. I'm going to let them have it. This is a great conversation.
You don't think that Jerry's gonna notice 5,000 people running for the
second
exits?
bomb could be anywhere. I'm not taking any chances.
Well, I'm not gonna let Ed and Nessa die.
Damn it, Danny, this is my case.
And this is my casino.
It's Ed's
No,
casino.
right now it's mine.
Would you listen to me? I'm not the enemy here. The enemy is at table 43 with a bomb strapped to his chest.
This is my house. And what happens in my house is my responsibility. Ed is relying on me.
Believe it or not, we are trained to do this.
And so am I.
What's your plan?
We need to find out where the hell that second bomb is.
That's a great scene. That's a great scene. You can see the look in Luis's eyes where he's like, all right, you got this. We'll follow your plan. You're right. You are trained to do this. You got this. So we cut to Mystique, and Gunther has ditched his shoes, has ditched his shirt. I didn't see pants anywhere, luckily. But he ditched his shoes, he ditched his cooking jacket, his chef's jacket, and his hat. And because apparently no one showed. It's Delinda, Sam, and Mary, by the way. And Delinda says,
Walked by him like he was selling insurance.
I don't get it.
We have about 200 half-naked people out by the pool, continuous legal gambling, and 24-hour free booze. Now, you're wondering why people don't want to stop and look at the man in the Laverne and Shirley outfit dicing up the onion?
ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 Sam. You're right on the money. You're correct. Ding, ding, ding. That's my problem with this Gunther issue here. By the way, I've been to a cooking demonstration before. A friend of mine and I and his girlfriend and sister all went to the Orange County Fair one year. And in the Orange County Fair, they had a cooking demonstration. And we sat and we watched cooking demonstration, in part because we needed to get out of the heat, and in part because I partied a lot the night before. That's a whole other story. Oof. Oof, I needed to sit down. But we watched the cooking demonstration, and it was fine. I don't remember anything they cooked. I didn't look up the cook. I didn't look up the chef. I think you could have looked up the chef. I didn't look up the recipe. It was useless. It was useless to me. You know what I mean? It's not a live cooking demonstration isn't anywhere near as fun. And I don't even think we could sample it. I don't even think that was part of it. Like, they had the chair set up, half the chairs were empty. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where the usefulness of a live cooking demonstration, I feel, outlived its purpose probably in the 70s. So the fact that it's being brought forth this far into 2004, when was that year I went? Probably 10 years after this, 2015-ish, probably. And it was played out then. It was played out in 2004. Yeah, I can't get behind the idea of a live cooking demonstration in Vegas. In Vegas, at the start of the pool season. Again, I don't think Delinda thought this out at all. I don't think she thought this out at all. I don't know why she thought this would be a big deal, because she thought it would be a big deal because Emerald was going to do it, and we wanted to see Emerald. So then why not cancel it after Emerald drops out? Because she already had the stuff set up and Emerald dropped. And why would you want Emerald to do it at your? You said he's got 2 restaurants already, right? Why would he want to do it at the Montecito? And if you're doing it at the Montecito, why wouldn't you ask your resident chef Gunther to do it? Why would you pretend like he doesn't exist? Wouldn't the point of doing a live cooking demonstration in your casino be to bring people to the restaurants in your casino? Why would you bring in an outside chef? You have restaurants in the Montecito. Not well thought out. Not well thought out at all. And Linda is going to have to grapple with that fact, as well as grappling with the fact that there are 3 seatings that are scheduled for tonight in Mystique, and Mary says,
"Oh, then you gotta get some coffee in here. You won't lift a spatula unless I can figure out a way to get people to watch that cooking demo."
Men and their fragile little egos.
Yeah, so easy to prop up, yet oddly even easier to crush.
She loves what she does. And speaking of
listen, I've never quite been scared of Sam. That is, I swear, if you watch it, I don't know if you watch it in between frames, if you go slow down, you might be able to see her horns on her head and the tail, like one frame, like a frame and a half maybe tops. But I'm pretty sure you can see the double horns and the tail pop up for about a frame and a half. I don't think CGI was quick enough to catch that. In any event, Mary's got to go off and figure out the Everlast show. And so Delinda has to figure out how to get people to come to the cooking show. And I think she has an idea. Meanwhile, we cut back to surveillance, and it's Mike and Danny, and they are trying to configure what to do. They're trying to also configure exactly what Jerry's trying to take down. They're trying to cover the cages, the art gallery, etc. They don't know exactly what the other bomb is used for, but it's probably to try to knock over the casino. Luis is still trying to figure out how he's going to evacuate the casino, but Danny rightfully tells him that they could set off the bombs in the casino. Now we've got audio on the floor, and Mitch and Mike are patching that into the screen there, to the studio, the surveillance room, and we hear Ed having a conversation with Jerry. Jerry says he's drawing a line in the sand with Natalie, and Nessa pipes in by saying that maybe Natalie needed some time, and now Ed is playing the role of the sympathetic guy who's been tossed around by girls and understand where Jerry's the spurned Jerry is coming from when it comes to women. He says,
So, Jerry, where'd you meet this friend of yours?
Why are you so nosy all of a sudden?
Nosy? I'm just curious what kind of guy, would let a buddy of his get in a jam like this.
You think this is a jam? I'm making a statement here. I'm drawing the line with Natalie.
And you've every right to be upset.
What do you know?
Yeah, how would you know?
It's a condescending attitude like that sends a guy spiraling into the abyss.
I was just trying to remind you that there are plenty of fish in the sea.
Yeah, cold cup of skank like you just likes to get inside a guy's head just for kicks, right?
Excuse me?
They don't get it, man. They just don't get it.
Beautiful girls like that don't even know where the abyss is.
The truth is, it don't matter what they look like. Look at this. Trust me, somewhere in the world there's a guy tired of her.
Amen to that, brother. I'll tell you what, when Natalie dumped me, I tried to call her over and over, and she ignored me.
And Nessa, very, very wisely, is understands her role. She saw the eye contact with Ed, and she's going to play along with it a little bit. But Jerry is telling Ed, he's ignoring Nessa, by the way. He's telling Ed about his troubles with Natalie and about how he met this guy, Tommy, who hooked him up with this plan. And now the surveillance room is scattering as they all look for this Tommy guy. And we cut to Gunther doing his demonstration again. And I couldn't find the music for this, and this is probably still a continuation of the last polka, though. And we finally do get people watching the demonstration because Delinda is giving away coupons for a free dinner at Mystique. And that's how she's getting that done. So her bad eye, so Delinda followed bad money after good. We'll see how much bad money a little bit later. We cut back to surveillance, and Mike has figured something out. He was looking over the footage, and because he's the greatest tech guy in the world, he's even greater than the bomb squad. He looked at the bomb on Jerry, and he realized that one of the wires isn't connected to anything.
Guys, I'm looking at the bomb from the close-up we got from the overhead camera. The red wire's not attached to anything.
Hop shine. He's right. There's no circuit.
Do we even know if this bomb is real?
It's real.
So somebody else has the trigger.
That's right.
The guy with the second bomb.
All right, we're looking for a remote trigger now, people. Scan for anything emitting a signal.
We not cut, but we pan back over to Natalie, and she identifies a guy walking around the casino, and we get the story that he was there at the bar with her last night, and he could have slipped her something in her drink. So Mitch is going to run a check, and as he does, Danny's really on top of it here. This is where you see how good a guy Danny is. This is why Danny is Danny. He checks in on Natalie real quick.
He's not black booked or Griffin. I'm gonna run facial recognition and bring it up on P3.
How do you feel?
Okay.
And then we cut back as we watch them go through all the facial rec, and we see this guy, Thomas Alessandri. And Thomas Alessandri has quite the rap sheet. Gulf War vet who was arrested for armed robbery, served 12 of a 12-month sentence, arrested for extortion, acquitted because of insufficient evidence, arrested for attempted murder, acquitted because of insufficient evidence around a year or so ago. And he was in SEAL Team 6 as an underwater demolitions expert. So if anybody knows anything about bombs, it would probably be that guy. They figured out the signal, and it's attached to Tommy, who's walking around the casino. And Tommy's walking around the casino. He hasn't sat down yet. Why would he? He can't.
What if we take out Alessandri right now?
No. You see those wires running down his arms and legs? The backup detonator is called a dead man's trigger. If he leaves his feet or keels over, the bombs automatically go off.
Damn.
So now we got to clear the blackjack table, but how are we going to do that? And Luis is asking for lightweight shields.
All right, I want you to isolate that blackjack table. Give me a plan for crowd control and get those lightweight shields ready.
Whoa, what are you talking about, lightweight shields?
You were right. Jerry's just a diversion. Diversion's only good if you use it.
Well, no matter what we do, Jerry's a dead man.
Ed and Nessa, too.
What an episode. We're not even done yet. We whoosh through the cityscape again, down the strip again, back to the pool. And this time, as we open that scene, we hear a production song on the original version, which is this is an odd one. You're a production song on the original version. Something along the lines of "Let's go to the City of Lights," something like that. That's strange enough, right? And normally when that happens, the production songs go all the way through all the versions that you're going to watch. This time, though, on the DVD, you hear a song called Ouija Me, spelled like the board game, Ouija space me, by Communique, Communique. And then on the streaming versions, you hear a song called Every Day is a Weekend by Universal Production Music. Now, Every Day is a Weekend is not a great song. Every Day is a Weekend sounds like a knockoff transition song that you would hear on like a TV show that the kids of California Dreams are watching. You know what I mean? Like, not... Actually, no. California Dreams have better music than that. Definitely have better music than that. I'm a California Dreams fan. It sounds like the theme song of a show that the kids on Daria would be watching. Although Daria had better music too, but they made fun of music better on Daria than other shows did. They were smarter that way about that. But yeah, interesting musical take there as we're down by the pool. You see the pool closes at 5 p.m. And so they're doing the sound check, they're running the ice cream, etc. So there's the timeline, right? It says pool closing at 5, people are leaving the pool. So now yes, we are not running in real time. This has been a few hours. We have started the episode at noon. We are now at 5. We've been running for 5 hours, which is actually very important to the end of the show. And I'm glad that they put this detail in there. We will come to it at the end of the episode. So Sam has been nonstop talking about this pool party with Everlast, and we hear...
Okay, I need a favor. They need to say this from the mic.
Okay, Brandon Chen from Alhambra, California is off the chain.
Perfect. It needs to be word for word.
Who wrote this?
Well, Brendan Chen's father has lost $1.2 million so far this weekend, so I promised him a little dedication.
I hate this whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which in today's money means that Brandon Chen's father lost $2,018,026.47 so far on the weekend. So yeah, I suppose that does deserve a shout out. Mary is she sees a waitress who is dealing with some guests who aren't rude. They just aren't necessarily paying too much attention to her. They're dropping their drinks on her tray, and the waitress, of course, knows Mary. She calls her Miss Connell.
Hi.
Hi, Miss Connell.
Is everything going okay?
Yeah?
Kelly.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a big show down at the pool tonight.
I heard.
You want to go?
Isn't it just for the rich kids?
Yeah, it is, but I hear the South Gate We'll be unguarded at 9:30.
Pardon me?
Pass the word.
Wow. Thanks, Miss Connell.
You're very welcome. And, yeah, please don't call me that.
Okay.
Because you see, Mary's still young and cool, right? We saw that with Nevada State. But let's talk about Kelly here for half a second. Since we just met her, we might as well talk about her. And she is the recipient of Montecito Magic this episode. So, of course, we have to mention who Kelly is. Kelly is played by Jessica Rae. Jessica Rae, her first credit, she's got a few credits. She got a couple of credits, but the credits she has are impactful. The first thing she was credited as being in was Young and the Restless as Jabot, the makeup girl. Las Vegas loves their soap opera stars. She did this episode of Las Vegas as Kelly. She did 2 episodes of General Hospital as Marita. Say hi to Sam. She also is a Power Ranger. That's right. Power Rangers Wild Force. She plays Alyssa Inrio, a.k.a. the Noble Tiger, the White Tiger Wild Force Ranger. For a lot of episodes. For a lot of episodes and a couple TV movies. She's a Power Ranger. Hold on a second. Let's get a new deck in here and we'll be right back. For the freshest and in-depth reactions and analysis of all the goings-on in hip-hop, sports, poetry, and everything else, go to Poetics Reacts on YouTube. Hosted by world-famous poet and chef Mr. Poetic, Poetics Reacts gives you points of view you never thought of and never thought of saying out loud. Go to YouTube and search Poetics Reacts or tinyurl.com/Poetics Reacts now. That's POETIXREACTS. While that's going on, Danny and Mike have are trying to figure out the plan for Jerry and Tommy in terms of the bomb. And Jerry doesn't have the trigger, so that means Tommy has to watch Jerry, but how is Tommy watching Jerry? Wow, wait a minute, I just realized, it's Tom and Jerry. Very pretty sneaky, sis. I just realized it's Tom and Jerry. So how is Tommy going to be watching Jerry? So they isolate Tom, and they watch him as he goes through his patterns through the casino, and they can't figure out, the pattern is the same pattern, and they can't figure out why he keeps going towards the bathroom every couple of minutes. Until they figure out, when he walks through, he looks up at something, they follow that something that he's looking at, the beam, to somebody else, a third person who's sending up a laser signal notifying Tommy that Jerry's still at the table and still dealing with the authorities of the Montecito. So Jerry was never supposed to be the guy in charge. But Jerry doesn't know that he wasn't supposed to be the guy in charge. Luis wants to go ahead and take him out. Luis is now with the sniper crew. He wants to take him out. Which doesn't make sense. Again, this is the problem with Luis. Sometimes Luis, what he wants to do doesn't quite make sense. Luis knows about the dead man's trigger. Luis knows that there's a second bomb, that these guys are in communication somehow. And he's not trying to figure out how they're in communication. He just wants to take this other guy out just for the tension. Danny convinces Luis that there might be enough time, it's the 2-minute intervals, in order to take out Tommy in the second trigger. Mike, meanwhile, tells everybody that he can tap out Morse code to Ed if we can get control of the LED lights in the camera.
Okay, we just need to let Ed know there's a second trigger.
I can rig the LEDs on one of the surveillance cameras to flash on and off. Can you tap it out?
Can you actually do that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Mike is the coolest guy in Vegas. He's the coolest guy in Vegas. He is the coolest and smartest. Danny may be the sexiest man in all the sexy men. But Mike is the smartest man of all smart men. In the smartest city in the land, Vegas? Sure, why not? So Mike very quickly takes control of the LED lights in the camera. And again, the show has to show. So luckily, Ed just happens to be looking up and just happens to see the LED light, which I will tell you, generally speaking, even back then, generally speaking, the shade, the dome that was over the cameras are partially meant so that you don't really see the LED lights. So it's hard to kind of configure that. Plus, even if you could see them, I'm sure he's not accounting for the possibility of glare, depending on which angle Ed is looking at the camera at. You know what I mean? Like, you can kind of... Like, the whole point of the dome is so that you don't really see the camera. Like, you, unless you're, like, right underneath the camera, which there's a funny story about when I was running surveillance. I could use the camera, and I do remember this time where this couple could see that the camera was following. I was playing around with them. They were laughing, but I kept, like, following them with the camera, and they were like, he's following the camera. Because they were super close to it. They were, like, a couple of feet away from it. Ed is down on the floor. The camera's up on the ceiling of the casino, of the first floor of the casino. The show's got a show. The episode's got an episode, though, and I'm just nitpicking, apparently. But Ed is seeing the lights flash above him, and I guess, and it'll make sense enough because Ed was able to tap out his Morse code so that Danny is able to tap out Morse code to him and able to tap out the signal to Ed about what they figured out. So Ed now is getting a little bit bolder. He gets closer to Jerry, who, again, Jerry is not paying attention to the mood swings of Ed. Remember when Ed got that close to Jerry the last time and Jerry got spooked and then Ed did his shtick with the drink and everything? You wouldn't think that Jerry would allow Ed to get close enough to him again to try anything, but yet and still here we are. It's happening again. Ed comes close to him. He says, "You don't mind, do you, Jerry?" And he stares through him in this it's just weird look on his face.
You don't mind, do you, Jerry?
As we cut back again through their hallway, and it's Luis, it's Mike, and it's Danny, and they are going to take out the other two people who are using the bomb. And Mike dashes off. Luis has his gun pulled, and Luis immediately stops the guy with the laser and tells him to not even breathe. And we cut over to Danny, and Danny is stalking. Ed sees it, and Nessa tries to grab the trigger from Jerry, but Nessa didn't know that it was dead. She does now, and...
No, it's dead. It's dead.
Oh, what a shot! Don't screw with the Ice Queen. Danny taps Ed in on the situation. Ed pulls Jerry away from the table. Nessa sighs a sigh of relief, and we see Tommy walking through the casino, and Mike is right behind him. I love Mike getting in the mix of this action. He's right behind him. He tells him it's over. Tommy tells him that bombs will come off and have the place will disappear, except now he's surrounded. There's Danny over there to him, and then there's right behind him, it's Ed, who cuffs Tommy to Jerry.
It's over.
I press this, both bombs go off, and half this place disappears. Now turn around and go back the way you came.
We can't do that.
Well, then sit back and enjoy the show.
It's a tough decision, huh?
That's funny. Tom and Jerry in a bomb episode. That's hilarious. Good job, GSC. That's the reason you're the puppet master. That's a nice little trick. And the top three surveillance guys in Vegas, Mike, Ed, and Danny, take a look, and Tommy cuts off the switch. The plan is over because Tommy actually wanted to get out of there alive. And we whoosh through the vent system, and we see Alessandri planted the second bomb on the other side of the vault. He drilled the holes deep enough to channel underneath, and that's why they had Jerry keep him busy those 5 hours. If you're not paying attention to stuff like the pool closing and the time the episode starts, it's hard to miss. It's easy to miss stuff like this. Because I watched it even just recently. I watched it for this episode. I watched it a couple times and I'm like, wait, he did all that in like 22 minutes? Because it felt like it was in real time. The episode feels like it's in real time. But it's not. It's go over the course of 5 hours. And maybe that's to the credit or detriment of the director. I'm not sure. But they did plant the time stamps in there if you knew what you were looking for. Even if you didn't know what you were looking for. They did plant the time stamps in there. But because the pace of it felt so urgent, and because it felt like it was happening in real time, especially if you watch enough TV or movies, you naturally feel like, oh, this is happening in the full 44 minutes. No, it's happening over the course of 5 hours, 5+ hours. So Alessandri would have time to drill through the back of the cage to the cage on the other side.
Probably took him 3 hours to drill those holes deep enough to channel the blast inward.
Yeah, that's why you had Jerry keep us busy.
He blows that wall right through to the back of the cage on the other side.
For the shift change, there's got to be like, what, 3 million?
No, like what, 4 million?
For reference, that like 4 million back then, today is like $6,726,754.90 Alessandri was trying to steal from the Montecito.
No one notices because of the crater in the middle of the casino.
And at the end of this scene, the camaraderie between Mike and Danny is great. We touched on this briefly on the Family Jewels, where they're giving each other the business back and forth, and the partner, and we saw this in a couple other episodes as well. But I like where they chase the guy through the pool and they celebrating Bella Sarah. The camaraderie between Mike and Danny, it feels so natural, man.
I was fantastic.
What? I was
today,
fantastic.
wasn't
You were all right, but I was fantastic.
We see Luis and Ed go through, again, their hallway. They still, episode 22, are getting the most out of this hallway. The absolute most out of this hallway. Ed wouldn't have let Danny take the chance, but Luis did because it's Danny. And we are met with Delinda again, who again tells Ed that when she was in a difficult spot and times were rough, Ed wasn't there for her.
Hey, Dad. Thanks a lot, Daddy.
What? What did I do?
I was in an extremely difficult spot today, and when times got tough, you weren't there for me.
Well, honey, I was just a little busy.
Yeah, right. You've always told me it's quiet when we reopen the pools.
I should have let Jerry blow me up.
Delinda... Delinda's frame of mind in this episode it's very Delinda. It is very, very, very Delinda. But it's nighttime in Las Vegas. We are whooshing over the strip again. What a beautiful sight that version of the strip was. And we're down by the pool, and it's Everlast playing White Trash Beautiful as the rich kids are enjoying the show. And you're right, it is not a lot of people taking up this giant space over here by the pool. Also, it's a pool concert and nobody's in the pool. They're just by the pool. It almost feels like, what's the point? But okay, sure. Everlast is playing on all versions of the show that you're watching, and the crew is winding down. You see the boys of the Montecito, the Kings and the Ace, as they sit and they talk over Ed and his streak there at the tables. He went on a cold streak, and he figured that you lost somewhere of, what, $30,000 or so at the tables? That's quite the streak. That's quite the streak. Even by today's standards, if you're looking at that money, that's a losing streak of about $50,450.66. That's quite the streak there, Mr. Harville.
Yeah, now we can take a major credit card, or we can work out some kind of installment plan.
Wait a minute, excuse me. I'm afraid you're gonna have to trust me on this one, guys. Talk to my casino host.
Please.
And we see the locals that snuck in past Delinda and Gunther. Gunther, who is awake and quite sober, at least enough to say that
Gunther is so tired we have 300 reservations for tonight.
Imagine that.
Yeah, 250 of them are comps. You know, your father, he is out of control with his freebies.
You know, Dad, kill them with kindness.
What? Tough day? You have no idea. Neither do you.
Delinda's tough day. I love Gunther. I'm glad that we got to see Gunther. I'm just not very impressed with Delinda's tough day at all. At all. The thinking behind it didn't make any sense. But we're here. It happened. And look at Mary and Sam looking at the boys up on the balcony as they are enjoying the concert.
Oh, and look at these guys. No idea what we've been through today.
I have to go do something.
Oh, you're gonna go open the south gate? I already did it. If you tell anyone I'm going soft, I'll kill you.
Have a beer.
Stop smiling.
And there's Kelly. Oh, just Montecito magic everywhere. And the locals come in to see Everlast as the crew enjoys the concert. So Nessa's laughing at Danny. I think she's laughing at Danny because Danny's trying not to dance. I think that's a real laugh. I think because Marcia is laughing because Josh is not dancing. You've heard me talk about Josh is dancing. He's just nodding his head, which is probably the best thing for Josh to do. But now, at the end, he is hugged up against Mary, who is fully embraced in Danny McCoy's arms. Big smiles on their faces. I'm coming home to you, girl. And then this shot. This is a great shot. I'm going to leave the dairy stuff alone for right now. We'll come back to that at the end. This is a great shot. I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you, girl. I'm coming home to you. We see Ed looking over his crew and his patrons here at the Montecito, over juxtaposed against the beautiful blue of the pool. And him looking satisfied and a night well done as we hear, I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you, girl. And in my head, I always envision this as him thinking about Jillian. I always envision this as Ed thinking to himself, I'm coming home to Jillian and about to go home to Jillian. But he looks over at his kingdom. And we fade out. This is a great episode. I nitpicked. That's my job, is to nitpick. I pointed out inconsistencies. That's my job, to point out inconsistencies. And to not say inconsistencies, well, inconsistencies. There we go. But do I think that this episode, The Big Bang, is worth the 8.95 out of 10? No. Do I think it's worth the 7.9 out of 10? No. Do I think it's worth the 5 out of 5 chips? No. I don't think it's better than The Family Jewels, and I don't think it's better than The Secret Life of Bob. But I do like this episode. This is a good episode, even with the inconsistencies. Inconsistencies. There you go. Even with all those in this episode, I do think this is a very good episode. By and large, the tension is very real, and I'm going to put that as a credit, that it felt like the episode was in real time, even though it was over the course of 5 hours or so. I'm going to give that to its credit, because that felt like things were moving along at such a fast pace. that you were never bored with this episode. You're always intrigued. You were intrigued with the storyline. You got to see different elements of our crew. Everybody got to play again. Again, this is a thing they got much better at the end of this season. You got a little bit of backstory into my favorite couple. I know. Is it my favorite couple? I say it's my favorite couple. However, there is another couple that we're going to see next season that might be a contender for my favorite couple, for me, I'm actually perfectly honest. But my favorite couple this season, we got some more backstory with them, with the Duran Duran stuff, and it just lit me up because I can't wait to get to that episode where we hear more about their adventures with Duran Duran. We got to see some Montecito magic. We got to see Gunther again. I love Gunther. We got to see Luis again, although it made me think about Luis's police tactics and exactly what his role is on this show. And as much as I love Luis, he very often, I don't know. So I say all that to say that my rating for this episode is probably closer to an 8 than it is to a 9. I'm going to, because I like it so much, I am going to go ahead and give it the 8. I'm not going to give it the 9. I can't give it the 9. I certainly can't give it the 10, the 5 chips out of 5. I can't give it that. I'm going to go ahead and give it the 8 because, again, fast-paced, you're intrigued the whole time. It makes sense. It feels like it's going by faster than it actually is, which is a good sign, especially for a lighter show like this, even with an episode like this, with the intensity and the integrity. And I also have to give extra points to the Puppet Master for that whole Tom and Jerry and the bomb thing. That's great. That's like, is that only because he couldn't get away with saying Itchy and Scratchy? He couldn't get away with calling him Itchy and Scratchy? Like, what are we doing? But that's terrific. I'm going to go ahead and give it the 8 out of 10. I do like this episode. My opinion, though, as we've talked about many times before, is not the most important opinion. Your opinion is the most important opinion around here at the Podecito. So I want to know what you think about this episode, The Big Bang. You can let me know on all the socials. The one I check the most is the Twitter, the Podecito, but you can also check in on the Instagram with the Podecito Gram. And by the way, the Podecito Gram is really hopping right now. We've got some new friends of the show. If you don't know who the newest friend of the show is on the Podecito, you should probably go ahead and check. And you should probably go ahead and check some of the latest reels that were dropped on the Podecito Instagram, and you could see one of the cast members. I will give you a clue. She's one of my favorite queens of the Montecito, and she hasn't been, and I hadn't named her as an unofficial friend of the show yet. So if you've been paying attention, that should really narrow it down. I've got another unofficial friend of the show as of today that I'm recording this. Oh my good man, my eyes popped out of my head when I saw that notification. So you should probably be linked in with us here as well. Also, what I need you to do is I need you to support as much as you can, right? If you're watching on one of the free services, which is great, I'm glad that you're doing that. That's terrific. Thank you for doing just that. Go ahead and help the sponsors. Go ahead and click, and I don't know if there are links. I'll try to click some more links, but go ahead and type in their URLs and support the sponsors. They're real sponsors. They're real people. Go ahead and support them. That helps. Like, share, and subscribe on all the places where you can find and watch and hear this for free. If you like, sharing is the most important part. Sharing is super important. That super-duper helps. If you can and are able to support either the Wayback Machine, which is great, it's been a great resource for this show because I use the Wayback Machine to tap back into LasVegas-theseries.com and find little tidbits here and there, some pictures. There are a couple videos that I found on there. There are lots of stuff that you can find that I've been able to find off that, courtesy of the Wayback Machine. Helping the Wayback Machine helps this show as well as the internet in general. You can help this show directly if you're able to through all the means of doing so. I right now suggest Patreon and the Cash App more than the Buy Me a Coffee. I still haven't been able to get in touch with people for Buy Me a Coffee to get the situation there straightened out. But if you do that, for as little as $1 donation, you can hear the audio versions of the episodes ad-free. For as little as $5, you can hear and watch the video versions ad-free. And whenever the episodes drop, if they're able to drop early, you will get those early before everybody else. Everybody else gets to hear it and or see it on Mondays, because that's when the Las Vegas show originally aired, and you get that then. That's great ways to help support. Also, share the show. When I said for free, share the show with other cast members. Let them know that the Podecito is here. Let other fans of the Podecito, of the Las Vegas, know the Podecito is here. We'd love to converse with you on all the socials media. The next episode we have is the season finale, episode 23, Always Faithful. There will be some different things happening to the Podecito after Always Faithful. There will be some different things happening to Las Vegas after Always Faithful. As of right now, I will tell you this. I am planning on taking I'm going to say 2-week break after the Always Faithful episodes drops in order to shore up some of the infrastructure for the show, in order to revitalize some of the aspects of the show, to add a couple aspects here or there for the Podecito for you guys to make the show better. So I'm gonna take my summer vacation, which will be 2 weeks instead of 2 months. But I've told myself I'm gonna take 2. I wanted to give myself 1 week, but I'm like, no, you need more time. So I'm gonna give myself the 2 weeks off to not retool the show, but add some different elements to it, make it a better listening experience, viewing experience, add some more perks, add some things like maybe a movie night where we get to see some of our cast members in some other roles. There was a made-for-TV movie starring Vanessa Marcil that I mentioned in an earlier episode that I would love to screen because it sounds like it's cheese-tastic. I would love to screen that. But yes, so I'm going to take the couple of weeks to not retool, but help improve the show. So Always Faithful next week is coming up, the season finale, and that episode, oh man, I started already doing the notes for that episode. That is heavy. We went from light to intense, and now we're got heavy. And the season finales of Las Vegas are different. They're definitely different. And this episode of Las Vegas, Always Faithful, is another indication. I'm not going to get too far into it, but it's another indication of what we'll see a lot more of in the coming seasons of Las Vegas. So this is an interesting episode to take part in. I can't wait to do it. And I can't wait for you to come back here and we can go over that together next week. So I appreciate you joining me. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey as we go through our favorite show, Las Vegas. Next week, Always Faithful. I can't wait to see you then. And until next time, remember, the South Gate will be open around 9:30. Pass it on. Oh, and also, please, take care.
No guilt, no shame, no pity. You play the game, baby.